Mark Halperin and John Heilemann in New York. Joining us now, the former mayor of New York City, Rudy Giuliani, much in the news in the last few hours because of remarks he made on Wednesday night here in New York at a dinner for Republican governor of Wisconsin, Scott Walker. Mr. Mayor, I want to ask you very specifically about the line you said about the president that's gotten so much attention. You said about the president that he doesn't love America. You said, I do not believe that the president loves America. Is that what you meant to say? Is that what you think?
That's the impression I get from what he says, yes. That he doesn't have a deep, abiding love for this country the way other presidents do, that he seeks to criticize it more than uplift it, and doesn't get the notion of American exceptionalism. I felt that for a long time, and honestly, what you just said, I probably have said 50 other times in slightly different ways, some of which has actually been covered, but never quite got this amount of attention. The one that probably put me off over the top is when he described American exceptionalism as being no different than Greek exceptionalism, failing to recognize that Greece never emancipated its slaves, and how you can compare American exceptionalism to any other country, for me, is very hard to believe.
Well, Mr. Mayor, presumably Greeks love their country, too, and the president has stated many times that he loves this country, so I'm curious why you can't take that notion at face value, that the president and you disagree on a lot of things, but that he's still sincere in his professed love for the country.
I'm willing to take him at his word that he's sincere in his professed beliefs, but I think his beliefs indicate that he is basically a critic of the country. And I think his whole background and development kind of made him that way.
What do you mean by background are you referring to?
But the background I'm referring to is the association with Frank Marshall Davis, the association with the Saul Alinsky group, which essentially seeks the overthrow of the power structures in our government through peaceful means. I'm talking about the fact that he very often, even overseas, will find ways to criticize America. Sitting in Reverend Wright's church for 17 years after Reverend Wright said, not God bless America, but God damn America. I think even if I wasn't in the pew that day, I'd quit that church. So I don't personally, and this is my interpretation and opinion, I don't get from the president that same sense that he has that deep, abiding, almost romantic love of America that I used to see in Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton. I see him more as a guy, a patriot, but from the point of view of wanting to criticize us and improve us, and I think he'd do a better job if he did it with a lot more positive reinforcement.
Mr. Mayor, the White House commented today on your comments. They read the full quote, which was, I do not believe, and I know this is a horrible thing to say, but I do not believe that the president loves America. That's what you're quoted as saying. The White House, one of the spokesmen there today said that he agrees with you, that is, in fact, a horrible statement to make about Obama. Do you have anything to say to the White House and their criticisms of you? They actually do remember that you've said similar things back in your presidential run in 2008. Do you have anything to say to the White House?
Yeah, what I have to say, it is horrible to say, and it's too bad that I have to say it. It'd be a lot better if I could say that I had a president that I was convinced had a great and abiding understanding of America's exceptionalism, I had a president who could stand up to his Islamic terrorism and call it for what it is, that I had an American president who didn't get confused about the Crusades. I wonder how much he understands of Western civilization to be talking about the Crusades. I mean, somebody should be worrying about the president, not me. I have no authority. But somebody should be worrying about the president and his thinking when he's talking about the Crusades, when Islamic terrorists recruit people using the Crusades as a device for recruiting. And he's talking about the Crusades as if it was a one-sided thing in which the Christians were brutal. I remember the history of the Crusades. It was fairly equal brutality on both sides. And by the way, it was 800 to 1,000 years ago. So I think the White House should get the president kind of focused on the world we live in and someday say the words Islamic extremist terrorism. I also wonder how we can have a battle for the minds and hearts of the Islamic world if we don't discuss it, if we don't discuss what's wrong with the Islamic world, if we don't discuss how the Quran has been misinterpreted, how it's been misused, and in some cases not misinterpreted. In some cases, some of the things they're doing are in fact based on the Quran. To have that discussion You have to have the courage to say that there is such a movement as Islamic extremist terrorism, and you can't deal in these silly, ambiguous euphemisms that the president is dealing with. And I think that's all part of the same picture.
I want to ask you, you've talked about some policy issues, and as John referenced earlier, there's no doubt you have some policy differences with the president. I think the word that people are really focused on is the word love, and I don't want to have like a full platonic discussion about it. But what do you mean when you say the president doesn't love America? What does that mean to you?
Well, actually, if I could express it more clearly, what I mean is he doesn't express it. I shouldn't say that the president does or does not love anything or anyone. I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist, and he doesn't have one, and he doesn't need one. So I don't know what he really believes. So what you're saying is not that he doesn't love America. You're saying he doesn't express it.
Yeah. So what you're saying is when you listen to him, the words you hear make you think that he doesn't express in a way that would give you the confidence that he loves America. But you don't doubt that he loves America, right?
If you want to put it that way, I don't doubt that he loves America in the sense that he's a patriot. He believes in the Constitution. He's going to follow the laws of the United States. I just don't know how far. I don't know that I agree with you that he loves America. I could be persuaded if he would talk like that, but from the way he talks, it sounds to me like a guy who has trouble expressing love for America.
So that's different. That's different than what you said, and we're not here to sort of trap you or to play a word game, but you're saying it differently now. Now you're saying he doesn't talk like someone who does, or he doesn't talk in a way that gives you the sense he does. But
that's the only. But guys, that's the only way I can interpret him.
Well,
when I say he doesn't love America, all I can base that on are the things I've heard him say.
But a second ago,
I don't know. I don't know deep down in his heart if he loves America or he doesn't.
Right.
When I listen to him, I do not hear the same things that I've heard from other American presidents about American exceptionalism, about what a great country it is, about how lucky he is to be where he is, given where he came from. Just like how lucky I am to be where I am, given where I came from. I don't hear those things from him.
You can understand.
So I interpret.
You can understand though why. Given that you just said you're not a psychiatrist and you don't really know what's in the president's heart, you don't really know what's in the president's mind, you can understand why some people would find the notion of you saying so boldly, I do not believe that the president loves America, is needlessly provocative, right? You understand why people would say that seems to be imbuing yourself with mind-reading powers that you just admitted you don't actually have.
No, I think it's my opinion. I don't claim any special powers. I have no special powers of analysis. I have no special degree in psychiatry or psychology. That's my opinion. My opinion from listening to him is that he doesn't exude the same love of America that other American presidents do.
Do you think someone can be...
I have a perfect right to... I have a perfect right to that opinion. All I ever hear from him is criticism of America, including outside the United States, which truly offends me. And a couple of the comments that he's made, including the most recent one about the Crusades, just about knocked me out of my chair.
Do you think it's possible for someone to be critical of the United States, of its policies, of its actions in history, and still love the country?
Absolutely, but then I want to hear him spending a lot of time talking about that love of the country and where it comes from. And other American presidents have been very critical of the United States, but it's always been prefaced by some statement that went into great detail about what a great country this is and how this is a country that can correct itself and a country that's done great things and a country that's done exceptional things. And thank God that we were born here and that God allowed us to be born here. Those are the things that I think are missing from his rhetoric that leads me to the conclusion that there's a problem in that area. It's not as if I have or am claiming, and I do not know him. I don't have any special insight into him. This is all from an outsider who is viewing what he says and the way he acts.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, thanks for making time to come on and clarify a bit with us. Appreciate it.
And thank you. Thank you. It was a very fair interview. I appreciate it. Thank you.